The Flight of Volaria. A story about discovering the magic of reading. Chapter 1. The Book That Wouldn't Stay Still. Leo Gray never liked books. He preferred games, the ones with flashing screens and fast-moving levels, where adventure was just a tap away. Books, on the other hand, sat still. They didn't move, didn't change, until one did. It happened in the most unexpected place, a dusty corner of the school library, where an old book lay forgotten on a shelf. Its leather cover shimmered strangely, and the edges of its pages fluttered like wings in a breeze that wasn't there. Leo reached out, hesitating. The moment his fingers touched the cover, the book sprang to life. With a burst of glowing letters, it flew out of his hands, swirling through the air like a bird made of paper. The world around him shifted. Bookshelves melted into towering forests of words, and the ceiling disappeared, revealing a sky made entirely of fluttering pages. Leo was no longer in his school's library. He was inside a book. Chapter 2. Inkbit's Warning. The first thing Leo saw was a streak of black ink, twisting through the sky like a comet. It zoomed past him and landed with a dramatic skid on the parchment ground, revealing itself to be a squirrel? Well, well, another lost reader, the creature said, brushing ink dust off its tiny paws. It squinted at Leo, then sighed. Let me guess, you never read books, unless someone makes you, huh? Leo blinked. Yeah? Inkbit smirked. Then you might have a problem, kid. This place moves with stories. If you don't read, you don't move. Leo frowned. Move where? Inkbit rolled his eyes. Out. Home. Wherever you came from. You want to escape? Open a book, turn a page, and read. Leo hesitated. Reading had always felt like work, but right now, it was survival. He glanced at the glowing book, Volaria, still fluttering beside him, waiting. With a deep breath, he opened the first page. The world shifted. Chapter 3. The Knight's Riddle. One moment, Leo was standing in an ink-streaked sky. The next, he was in the middle of a battlefield made of parchment, surrounded by knights with swords made of quills. A towering figure stepped forward, Sir Parchment, a knight wrapped in scrolls. "A challenger!" he announced, voice booming like thunder. "If you wish to leave this kingdom, you must solve my riddle." Leo gulped. "A riddle?" Sir Parchment raised his sword quill. "Indeed, here it is. I hold truths, I hold dreams, I hold knowledge in endless streams, yet flip my pages and I disappear. What am I?" Leo frowned. It sounded familiar. He thought about books, about the way words vanished when pages turned. Then suddenly, it clicked. "A story," Leo blurted. Sir Parchment grinned. "Correct. You may pass." The moment Leo spoke the answer, the world shifted again. Chapter 4. The Heart of Stories. Leo's adventure continued through endless books, each one transforming the world around him. He raced through jungle mysteries, soared through space in fairy tale ships, and unlocked poetry castles built of rhymes. But it was Ariella, a glowing book moth, who made him pause. "Reading is not just about words," she whispered. "It's about feeling, understanding." She led Leo into a story unlike any other, one where he saw a memory of himself as a child, curled up with his mom, listening to her read. He had forgotten that feeling, the warmth, the wonder. He had forgotten why stories mattered, and that realization made him want to read, not to escape, but to explore. Chapter 5. Home, but not the same. When Leo finally reached the librarian between worlds, she smiled. "You may leave now," she said, offering him the final page of Volaria. "Or you may stay and explore more." Leo looked at the book, the one that had once been just paper and words to him. Now he knew better. Books moved worlds. Stories had power. Smiling, he turned the page and kept reading. The end, or just the beginning? Chapter 6. The Library That Listens. The page shimmered beneath Leo's fingers, but instead of whisking him away like before, the world paused. The fluttering skies quieted, the parchment trees stilled, and for the first time since he'd arrived, there was silence. Then a whisper. Not from the book, but from the world itself. "Welcome, reader." Leo turned. Before him stood a library, grander than any he had ever seen. Its towers reached beyond clouds, and its doors were etched with 1,000 languages. Above the entrance, a golden plaque read, "The Living Library of Valeria, where stories choose you." Inside, the air buzzed, not with electricity, but with anticipation. The books here weren't arranged by title or author. They hovered, spun, glowed, and watched. A small one with a crimson ribbon floated toward him and opened itself. "You read me once, when you were 6, it said softly. But you stopped before the last page." Leo remembered. It was a story about a boy and a cloud dragon. He had lost it during a move. He reached out, and the book sighed in relief. As he read the final page aloud, the room pulsed, like the story had been waiting all this time to be complete. Then he heard a laugh. Light, gentle. Ariella. The glowing book moth fluttered down from above. "You're becoming a listener now," she said. Leo blinked. "A what?" "A listener," Ariella explained, "is someone who doesn't just read stories. They hear what the stories need. They help complete them." Suddenly, Leo understood. It wasn't just about him reading books anymore. It was about books needing him too. Chapter 7. The Unwritten Realm. Later that day, or perhaps years had passed. Time was odd in Valeria. Inkbit returned with a frown. "We've got a problem," the inky squirrel muttered. "There's a realm appearing at the edge of the library, but it's blank." "Blank?" Leo echoed. "Nothing written, no characters, no chapters, just silence." Leo and Ariella followed Inkbit through corridors until they reached it. A vast white space, stretching endlessly. In the distance, a faint shimmer, a lonely title hanging in the air. The Story That Was Never Told. "This one's waiting for someone," Ariella said, her voice hushed. Leo felt something stir in his chest, a mix of fear, wonder, and curiosity. "What happens if no one writes it?" he asked. Inkbit looked away. "Then the story fades. Forever." Leo took a breath, stepped forward, and with trembling hands opened a glowing blank page. He didn't know what the story would become, but he was ready. Chapter 8. The Ink Storm. As Leo took his first step into the story that was never told, the white space around him rippled. A wind picked up, not made of air, but of words. Tiny letters swirled like a storm, loose, restless, unfinished. Then came the rumble. The sky above cracked open, spilling black ink like thunderclouds. Shapes formed inside it, creatures made of forgotten plots, discarded characters, and sentences never completed. One of them roared, a half-formed dragon with missing wings and an open, flickering paragraph where its eyes should be. Ariella hovered at Leo's shoulder. This is what happens when stories are abandoned. They twist, break, lose themselves. Leo held the blank book tighter. "Then I need to finish it, before the ink takes over." He opened the first page. The title formed in gold letters, "The Brave Who Wrote the End." And he began to write. Chapter 9, The Rewrite. As Leo wrote, the ink storm fought back. Every sentence he created lit up the sky, clearing space, forming landscapes, bridges, homes. But every pause, every moment of doubt, gave the storm strength. "I don't know how it ends," he whispered. Then a voice rose from the pages. "You don't need to know the ending. You just need to keep going." He saw his younger self again, listening to his mom read, dreaming in the dark. He remembered what stories felt like. Not rules, not homework, magic. He wrote of a kingdom healed by imagination, of monsters turning into forgotten friends, and of a reader who became a creator. The ink storm began to fall, gently now, turning into rain that watered new stories below. Chapter 10. The Reader Returns. The blank world shimmered, now filled with characters, forests, cities, stars, a full story born from Leo's words. Ariella landed on his shoulder. "You've done it. This story won't fade now." Inkbit skidded in, breathless. "You gave it life. That place will stay open. For others like you." Leo looked down at his book. His name was on the cover now. Leo Gray, the first listener. A golden door appeared in the air. The way back. The librarian between worlds waited on the other side. "You may return now," she said, "but you will never be the same." Leo smiled. He stepped through and found himself back in the school library. The dusty shelves, the quiet air. But in his hands was Valeria, still glowing, still alive. And now he picked up another book, and then another. Not to escape. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to know what happened next. The end. But as every reader knows, it never really ends.